Initialize Serenity Sequence.
Welcoming inner peace.
Practicing mindful mischief. Because life shouldn't be that serious. Sending love to the world.
And flipping ether to the haters.
Ready to do this thing? All right, let's go.
Hi. I turned the microphone on. How about that? Hi, guys. Hope you're doing good tonight. So, I just watched a portion, at least, of the live from Wolf and Mercantile, and they had some really nice sounds on there. I've been there a couple times, and hey, Judge Anthony, and I really like the place. So, I think that may start being my regular Wednesday night ritual before our live starts. Anybody like a conference section? See you all's here. So, well, hi. Hi, Tim. Hi, Aretha. Hope you guys are doing well. See, JoJo's all about this tonight. He's already knocked over my lighting 2 or 3 different times. And hold on. Here's one for my constant lights and all that good stuff. So, tonight, we're going to talk some about the third eye when we get into this. But before we do, how's everybody doing? Give me a number, 1 to 8. How was your day? How have you been? Keep me in the loop here. Mine has been okay. Becky had a COVID scare yesterday and had a little bit of a headache, but nothing too major. I think I'm all right. I took off today. I found out that my 9 to 5 is actually ending in a week. So I'm taking vacation next week, and from there, figure out what my next step is, what my next phase is, what I'm doing. But whatever it is, I know it's going to work out like it's supposed to because things always do. 9, that's a good day, Aretha. I'm glad to see that. Steady 8, man, that's great. I'm glad to see that. Kim, what's yours? Where are you at? I think Becky's on here too. How are you guys? I think Becky's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the thing. I've missed y'all. I really have. It's been an interesting week here, but it's been okay. Good. Yes, she is under the weather, so she's not great, but she's here. So let me see if I can do something here. I'm going to. It's been a week. Yeah, that it has. Let me see if I can see something here. All right. I am multitasking at the moment through this. So we're going to go tonight through talk about the third eye. But before we do, I want to go back and remind everybody about why I teach so damn slow, especially when we're talking on something like this. The things that I talk about, I generally give long-winded explanations of the hows and whys and all of that, particularly when we're talking about something as important as working with chakras and Kundalini work. If you think about chakra work, I think I'll get into this in a little bit into a talk, but if you think about chakra work, the things that you're building up on, like if you solve the issues about feeling secure in your foundation, feeling safe and feeling okay. And then you solve the issues about expressing your creativity, understanding your personal sexuality, understanding who you are. Then you get there and start feeling your personal power and understand how to take that back and take control of your life. Then start understanding how to love yourself better and love others. Then how to speak your mind on things and speak to yourself, tell yourself the truth, and speak up when you need to. And then you get to the point where you're able to understand the intuition that comes with the third eye and opening that. So it's a foundation to build on these things so that it comes up safely. Someone asked me earlier in a text about teaching Kundalini safely. Well, to teach it safely, you have to teach it slowly, and you have to hammer in the concepts about building that foundation. And I think you guys have probably seen me do that over and over again. I hope so, because I try to. Um, Kundalini can go wrong, and not just regular chakra work. Regular chakra work, everybody needs to do that. But when you're trying to open the chakras and open up that energy flow and raise it all the way and hit the crown, the Kundalini opening happens when you go from your third eye to your crown. Okay, when you open this here, and I'll talk about part of the reason why in a little talk I've got prepared in just a minute. The pineal gland is supposedly the root of the soul. And that's what we're working on when we're working with the third eye. And as we open that up, it lets us see better and understand better. And it also is a connection between the literal physical and the ethereal. And in different traditions and different cultures and different ideas, it does the same thing, right? It means the same, it's just phrased different ways, but it's our way of developing understanding fully. And then, boom, those downloads come, that understanding comes from the cosmic truths and all these other things. It's like in the Christian traditions, when you see someone who really fully starts to understand that connection with God, right? It goes from this place of where they have this foundation and then boom, they're awake and understand it. Whereas if you take someone who doesn't have that foundation and you toss them in all of theology and all things, that's when you get that toxic version of that. It's the same thing with studying esoteric works. If you get in over your head and you don't understand it, then sometimes you'll get that toxic version of it where this way is the right way, it's the only way to do it. We see that a lot. We see that a lot of people online especially. So I'm saying, find what resonates with you, do it slowly, and take the parts that work for you. If something doesn't resonate with you, then look at alternatives. Understand it, understand what it means. That doesn't mean that has to be your path. Your path is individual and unique to you. Make sense? I hope so. So we're going to jump into this talk about third eye. Then I'm going to show you guys an exercise. It's called moon breathing, and it's a really good one. And it doesn't matter what level you're on. It's good for relaxing you and helping you balance other chakras too, but it's really good for the third eye. Then we're going to do a meditation tonight that is backing up a little bit, and it works on one of the lower chakras, but it's also good for this one because it's a meditation designed for sleep and relaxation. So later on toward the end of this, you guys probably want to get chill and in someplace comfortable if you want to follow this meditation along. So thoughts, ideas, questions before I bump out this third eye talk? I have to give it a minute because there's a delay between when I speak and when you guys hear me. So I always give a second or two. All right, so I'm going to come off stage and I'm going to raise up this little video and we'll talk a little bit about the third eye. Well, the third eye is the chakra that everybody asks about. When you start talking about doing chakra work, especially if you're a teacher in this, inevitably somebody's going to come up and say, hey, how can I open my third eye? What can I do for my third eye? And they forget about the foundations that need to be built for this. Now, I'll repeat at the start of this. I've said this a couple times already, but before working on your third eye and working on opening up that intuition and all those other things that we're going to talk about that's involved in the third eye, it's extremely important that you do your root chakra work, that you work your way through the rest of the chakras and have all that where it's kind of balanced and where you kind of have a handle on everything. And that's not just from an esoteric perspective. That is from really a common sense and a psychological perspective. Because think about it like this, okay? If you're going to open up the ability to see a lot more and to get some of those downloads that are going to come when you connect the third eye with the crown and you start seeing things and understanding things on a different level, you want to have the perspective to understand what it is that information is telling you. So you want to be grounded and stable. You want to not really worry about major changes in your life. You want to feel comfortable with who you are and with people around you. You want to have done the shadow work and come to terms with any issues you may have had in your childhood. And you want to have that solid foundation that comes from the root chakra work. Then you want your creativity to be opened up. You want to be able to express yourself with different creative ideas and to explore that aspect of yourself. You want to understand your own personal sexuality. You want to understand who you are in that aspect of your life that you would get from working with your sacral chakra. You want to take back your personal power where you're in control of your life. And you want to have done that working with your solar chakra. That power and the ability to confidently express that creativity that you're free to work with because you have a grounded foundation. Then you want to have all that coming from the heart, where you truly care about yourself and others around you, and where you're truly connected with that aspect of you, where you can do things from a place of love that you get from your heart chakra. You also want to be able to express to yourself who you are, the things about you that are important, and you want to be able to communicate those, your thoughts, ideas, dreams, and goals to other people around you. That comes from your throat chakra. Now, if you've got all that lined up, then it's the time to start working on that third eye. If none of that is really in sync like it needs to be, and you bump open that third eye, whatever you get from that, whatever comes to you from that, whatever understanding you may get from the esoteric side of this, is going to be through the filter of things that are skewed a little bit. Like if you haven't done the root chakra work and you've still got a whole bunch of childhood issues, you've got a whole lot of feelings of insecurity, and you've got a whole lot of things that you just feel like your whole world could shift to a bad place any minute, and then you get all this new information, these new ideas coming from the third eye, then all that's going to do is amplify those issues that you have. It's the same with all the lower chakras. You want to fix those lower chakras first and do the work. You don't want to jump ahead and start working on your third eye because you think you're going to become Doctor Strange in 30 minutes. Now, honestly, if you could do some of the Doctor Strange stuff, I'm a huge fan. I probably would have done that. But it's not how it works. It's just not how this goes. You have to build that foundation first. And the third eye is not even the end of the story. The third eye is not where you get all those downloads, where you get that knowledge and those things just coming to you. That's when you connect all this with the crown and truly open and connect that kundalini. And we'll talk about all that. But for now, we're going to dive into what the third eye is on both the scientific and the esoteric aspects of it and take a little deeper look at it. But I want to take a look at this coming from the perspective that we know before we start working heavy on the third eye, we need to work on those other chakras. You don't jump ahead of the line because it will just end badly. Now, for those of you who are not super familiar with the third eye, which I think everybody on here probably is, but just as a kind of basic overview, what we're talking about is in many different esoteric traditions, it's depicted as an energy center that's located between your eyebrows. And it's associated with intuition, wisdom, and even psychic abilities. But the interesting part about this is that there is, in the same area of our physical body, something that actually is similar to this. and it's been proven by science. I'm sure some of you guys are jumping ahead, and you know I'm talking about the pineal gland. Now that is a small pine cone shaped gland. It's part of your endocrine system that we talked about last week, and it releases melatonin, which helps control your circadian rhythm, basically when you're awake and when you're asleep. Some people have speculated that it also releases DMT. That hasn't been scientifically proven, but there are studies that suggest that altered states of consciousness like lucid dreaming occur in times when we're sleeping and the melatonin levels are fluctuating greatly. There are also some studies that suggest that, and this is good for our purposes, that meditations on the third eye, when you're focusing on that area of the brow, might actually alter the electrical activity in the pineal gland, which helps us reach an altered state of consciousness. Now, that's still under research, but those of you who have been to my live meditation classes, and even some of you who are just working on the things that I put here on the channel, know that in meditation, you can get to those deep levels, and you can sort of travel the cosmos in that manner, like we talk about quite a lot. It just works. And the thought is, the theory is that the pineal gland and the third eye have a lot to do with us reaching those levels. There are suggestions also that some particular psychedelic substances can also influence the third eye and getting to those levels. Well, I could tell you a personal story on that. One of the most profound changes I ever had in my life was at a rainbow gathering, a whole bunch of hippies back in 1994. And I was there. I knew nothing about nothing as far as a real spiritual connection goes. I was there trying to heal some stuff to get away from here. And I really was just out in the world exploring. It's a long story. I'll tell the whole thing at some point in time. But when I was there, I was sleeping around the fire. There's just big, gigantic fires in the middle of big bonfires. And through the early evening, you'll have hundreds of thousands of people playing the drums. It's amazing. Well, late at night, and this was toward the end of the gathering where some people had moved on out, or maybe it was toward the beginning where everybody wasn't there, but it wasn't super crowded at about 2 o'clock in the morning. There were probably 20 people sitting around this fire. I was one of them because I was sleeping behind. I didn't have a tent. I was using my jacket for a blanket and a pillow. It's all I had to my name at the time. Well, this old lady comes around, and it's an old native woman, and she's got this clay bowl, and she passes it around to everybody and says, "If you're strong, drink." Now, me at the time, being a young man who thinks he can conquer the world and thinks he's just the toughest guy on the planet, I'm like, "I'm strong, I'll drink it." And so I drink. What it was a mixture of peyote and some other things. And I ended up walking out in the middle of this field, puking my guts out, and then just sort of coming alive and looking around me and seeing the colors of the grass just being different in the moonlight and everything just being much more intense. I heard the most beautiful song I'd ever heard in my life, and I followed it through the woods. Understand there's no flashlights. You're walking through the woods, sometimes on trails, sometimes not. But I got to this place in the middle of the woods where I found whatever my spirit animal was supposed to be at the time, so I thought. And I heard this beautiful voice all around and just experienced all these amazing things and saw the world from a different perspective, which was mind-blowing to me. And it changed who I am. It let in a whole lot of kindness, a whole lot of patience, and a whole lot more understanding of the world around me than I had, but it didn't fully open up yet. The only time I have had an experience similar to that in the rest of my life was many, many, many years later. This was just a few years ago when I had my first full Kundalini awakening. And when I did, I went out at night, and the grass was silver, and the sky was the most beautiful I've ever seen. And it's like you could hear or see things more intensely, more powerfully, and everything just kind of made sense and a feeling of ultimate calm. And I could say that for me personally, that experience with psychedelics in 1994 was similar. Not quite as intense on some levels as far as understanding, because I wasn't ready for that understanding at that point in time, but it was very similar to the experience I had when I finally
had a full Kundalini awakening. So there are similarities in the two for sure. Regardless of what science says, I can speak from my personal experience. Mileage may vary. I'm in no way suggesting you find a random native woman in the middle of the woods and drink from the pot of a psychedelic fruit she's created, but yeah, I personally probably would not pass on that opportunity, but I suggest that it's not the smartest thing in the world to do in retrospect, but it was good for me. Now, the third eye has permeated pop culture, and in some levels, so has the pineal gland. Now, this has gone on for a long time. The French philosopher Descartes suggested that the pineal gland was the principal seat of the soul. He felt like a lot of esoteric philosophers and systems do, that the mind and the body were two separate entities, and the mind was not necessarily connected to the body completely, and that connection came through the pineal gland, which in some ways it lines up with our idea that that point in chakra work is the last spot where it's a full connection to the physical. It is the bridge between the physical and the cosmos, the creation, Keter, however you want to look at it, whatever that above is. It's our bridge between there and the crown opening up. So it kind of lines up in some ways. Madame Blavatsky from the Theosophical Society that brought us so much of Eastern esoteric tradition into the Western world tended to agree with him. And she said that that was the seat of the divine eye, or the third eye. And esoteric traditions often suggest that awakening the third eye gives you the ability to see beyond the seen. It wakes up the clairs. It increases your clairvoyance. It allows lucid dreaming, which we talked about earlier. And most importantly to me is it allows access to deeper truths. It lets you understand things on levels that you couldn't previously. And that goes back again to why I was talking about how important it is to have everything lined up. Because until you're ready for some truths, they're not going to make sense. If you don't have everything else in line when you open that third eye up, it might as well be you trying to understand a language that you've never spoken or heard anyone speak before in your life. It's going to be gibberish for the most part. So if you want that awakening, that opening, that alignment, again, do all the lower chakra work first. Get yourself to that point and slowly work on the third eye. Now, you should technically, and this is the way that I was taught, and traditionally, you will start doing some exercises to work on opening that third eye from the lower chakra work levels so that it opens slowly, and when you get to the point where you're ready for it, it doesn't take as long to do to work with. But that doesn't mean you should go ahead and start going full throttle and focusing on that third eye. Again, I try to get the warnings on this stuff because I know that it's become very popular to just use your intuition and figure out how to do things like this, but there's a history, there's a process, there's a way to understand this and a way to safely do it, and there are ways that are not so safe. And if you doubt that, just Google Kundalini Awakening horror stories, because there's a bunch of them from people who were not prepared.
So, so having got that out of the way, let me take this off the screen. I do have, yes, lower chakra work is super important. Super, super important. So, having got that out of the way, I have an exercise here in a little bit that is appropriate no matter what level you're at. This is when I started on my Kundalini instructor training. The first thing they did was teach me this exercise. And I have to do this exercise for a week, and then I could do the next thing they would show me, and then I would have to do this for a week, and so on, so on. So I think it was deliberately designed to stretch everything out so it didn't come super fast. But it's popular exercise. It's very, very well known. Some of you guys have probably done it before, and it's called moon breath. Before we do that, I want to see if I can find something right quick because, well, no, I forgot. This is going to be a 2-week series talking about the third eye. We're going to be doing the rest next week. So I'll share that next week, but I have something really cool. What this involves is ancient cultures and some of the design of some temples and some things and how it relates to brain and what we know now. So it's kind of cool. But any thoughts on that before we go forward and start talking about this meditation? Well, the first meditation, I'm actually going to give you guys a repeat of an older meditation that's appropriate for this, but this is new about this practice, this moon breath. Look here, other channels. All right. So let me shout out, hi, Insta, Rumble, all you guys. I can't communicate with y'all as quickly as I can here on Facebook, but I see you. I appreciate you. If you're on Facebook as well, please follow us here. We have some great conversations on here. All right, so I'm going to move into the concept of moon breath, and then I'm going to show you guys how it works. And it looks silly, but it's powerful and it works.
One of the things about teaching any esoteric stuff have a place to start from, a buy-in to understanding it, because in most cases it's going to be something along the lines of, well, to understand this you need to understand this concept, and to understand this concept this is like this, and it's all gibberish if you don't have a place to start. And that's kind of why I teach like I do, is I try to give you guys a starting point and a place where some of the higher level things would make sense. Now, we started a while back talking about the energy channels in the body. We looked at how those have polarities: masculine, feminine, solar, lunar, and that there is a neutral channel that runs up our spine. We compared that to the Kabbalah and the path of mercy, the path of severity, and the middle path. And we looked at some other different practices where it's the same thing. We mentioned polarities in electricity: positive, negative, and neutral. And it all should sort of tie in together, and it should give you a starting point for understanding these things. Now, talking about an exercise to work on the third eye, we're talking about working on balancing all of our energy that flows through prana, breath, in our body. That also affects the Kundalini path. So we're going to work tonight on a process known as moon breath. It's an ancient yogic practice, and it's designed to activate the pineal gland and to help awaken the third eye. The idea is that we're going to be focusing breath through the left nostril, that is associated with lunar energy, and it's calming and introspective. We will then release our breath, release the prana, through the right nostril, solar side, and we'll release any negativity or clutter with the outgoing breath. So I'll explain how to do the exercise in detail here in just a moment, and then I'll turn the camera back on and show you what it looks like. It looks very, a little silly. It's a simple exercise, but it's very powerful, and it's one that should be practiced daily if possible, wherever you're at in your practice, getting you ready for that opening of the third eye and preparing you for that. So here's how the moon breath exercise works. It's very simple. You're going to use your right thumb to gently press on your right nostril just below the bridge of your nose. The idea is just that you're closing your right nostril with your thumb. And then you're going to inhale very slowly and very deeply through your left nostril. As you inhale, visualize a cool, calm, lunar energy entering your body, coming in with that breath. Feel your belly expand first, fill with air, then your chest rise gently. At that point, you're going to briefly hold your breath at the top of that inhale and make it a comfortable count of 1 to 4 seconds, depending on whatever your lung capacity is. And visualize that lunar energy we just worked with. There's Wookiee out there, filling your entire being and bringing a sense of serenity, stillness, and peace. Now, for the next part of this, you're going to release the thumb that you have on your nostril and move it over onto your left nostril. Exhale completely through the right nostril and visualize that releasing any negativity, mental clutter, stress, any of that kind of stuff with the breath going out. And as you exhale every time, let your body just soften and relax. After you exhale, hold your breath for another comfortable count of 1, 4, 5 seconds, whatever is comfortable to you, and visualize a sense of openness within yourself, to where it's a comfortable emptiness and openness. And then you're going to inhale through. You're going to basically repeat the process, and inhale again through your left nostril. Hold, exhale through the right. Hold on, exhale. You're going to do this just like you would a box breathing exercise. Same concept, except for in this case, you're only doing it through one nostril at a time. Inhaling through the left nostril, exhaling through the right. And if you can do that without using your thumb to hold the nostril closed, that's fine too. Now, as you start working on through this, you can start doing more visualization work and visualize that energy flowing all the way down through your chakras. And you can visualize it flowing up into your forehead and sort of activating your third eye. And just visualize that lunar energy flowing through. And mantras work good. If you have a personal mantra, then use that. The idea is just to get into the rhythm. It'll help you with that. You can use some of the ones we work with. You can Om, whatever works for you. This is your personal practice, so you got to find what you're comfortable with and what makes sense. Now, as you're doing this, also try to do a body scan around the same time, to where you just pay attention to any sensations going through your body, any place where there's tension, and just constantly relax that. Now, again, this is your practice. If some of this is harder for you than other parts of it, adapt it to how you need it, and slowly work to doing it in the way that we just described. The idea here is, first of all, if you're not enjoying this, it's not going to have as much of an effect. If you're struggling, go in it gently and ease your way into it. It's an easy exercise, but just because something is easy for one person doesn't mean it will be for another. So work with it, be consistent with the practice of this. That's essential for chakra work, is to be consistent in what you're doing. And once you finish this and you go through, I'd say about 5 minutes of this work would be the ideal time. And then take a few slow, natural breaths through both nostrils, like normal breathing. Sit there quietly for a few minutes and notice if there's any shift in your mental or your emotional state, how this has affected you, if it has. And you might want to consider writing this down in some kind of journal, anything that you felt, because that helps. And listen to your body. If you feel any kind of discomfort, stop and rest for a little bit. And remember that this is a tool for exploration, self-discovery, and it's designed to be done over time. You shouldn't have any instant results from this. This is something that you should build up. And as you work with this, you're going to not only be able to relax more, but you can do inner exploration. It's good for for chakra work on the other chakras as well. And it should give you a heightened sense of your intuition and connection with your inner wisdom, your inner guides, whatever you want to call that. Whether that is your higher self, whether that is an external guide of some kind that you deal with, whatever it is, this should give you a
So does that kind of make sense, guys, where we went with that? Y'all kind of get the idea of exactly how it works and what we're talking about. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's very simple and it looks a little silly, but you're going to take, again, right hand, thumb, hold left nostril. If you're actually doing it, you'll have your eyes closed. Breathe in. Hold a moment. Swap. Exhale. Hold. You can think of this as just doing box breathing, one nostril at a time, and breathing through your nose. That's probably the simplest way to describe it, but it works. It's an interesting and powerful effect. But yeah, it's one that you guys would probably play with a little bit, but it's a good one. Moon breath, and just expand it as you go. So, all right. So, any thoughts, ideas about what we talked about so far? I can tell you that next week I'll continue this with the third eye, and after that, I'm going to go through and give you guys a series of exercises for each chakra, and we'll go quickly back over the chakras. And then after that, we will talk about the crown, and then we'll end up opening the heart chakra when everybody's had a chance to work with everything and let that flow go. The next series that we're doing after this is going to be on mudras. And we're going to explore some different mudras and some different ways to work with those. And we're going to do that across modalities, so to speak. We're going to talk about as it applies to working with Eastern and Western traditions and some other things. So those will be fun and a lot more stuff coming up. But I want to build basically a baseline of knowledge so that we can all get into this stuff and go deep. Jojo is over here creating chaos and destruction as usual. Come here, buddy. Say hi. Say hello to Jojo. I'm starting to think that Jojo might actually be some form of feline terrorist or something. I mean, he's constantly in here destroying things. Great cat, but slightly destructive. So we're going to do, you've seen this meditation that I'm about to play for you guys before, but it's appropriate for the context of this. It's designed for relaxation and getting ready for sleep. So before I do that, I just want to say, y'all, I appreciate again, as always, every single person being here. I'm not offline yet, but I'm hoping to get you guys chill and relax here in a little bit. So as we try this next meditation, if you stick around for it, because you've seen it before, and if you jump off at this point, I understand. This is an older meditation. We've done it a time or two, but it's good for relaxation and de-stressing. I'll be back on after that to speak a little bit more, and then we'll call it a night. Very chill, very relaxed this evening. So, yeah, exactly. JoJo's got to bump up here and create chaos, and Wookie has to be barking in the background while I'm trying to explain something. That's just tradition. So we'll see. But without further ado, here's tonight's meditation.
This is a body scan meditation designed to help you relax and get ready for sleep. Lie down. Just get comfortable. Adjust your body until you feel comfortable and safe. Close your eyes. Get ready to relax. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Allow all the stress and the worry of the day to just fade away. Take another deep breath. Fill your lungs with air completely. Now, as you exhale, try to let every bit of tension, all of it from the day, leave your body. Exhale and just let go. Take all your attention and take it down to your toes. Feel all the tension and all the stress. Release. Let your toes and your feet relax. Tighten the muscles there just a little bit. And then let them go. Let them release. Any tension being held there, just let it fade away. Now, move your focus up a little bit to your legs and your calves. Tighten those muscles for a moment. And release. Let go of all the tension in your legs, all the way down to your toes. Let your lower body just relax. Sense the gentle rhythm of your breath. Let each breath take you a little bit deeper into relaxation. Every breath, every heartbeat, letting you relax more and more. Now, put your focus on your hips. Allow them to just sink into the bed, feeling comfortable and secure. And let go of all the tension. Again, focus on your breathing, and with every breath, let go of stress and worry, and feel those muscles start to soften up. Just relax. As you let yourself become more and more relaxed, let your body feel embraced by the bed beneath you. Soft and comfortable. Breathe deep. As you exhale, your muscles become softer, less tense. You let yourself be more and more comfortable, feeling safe, secure, and completely relaxed. Now, move your attention to your lower back. Let those muscles there relax. Let go of the tension. And visualize a warm ray of soft, peaceful energy flowing through the muscles in your back, your spine, and just starting to loosen up that tension. And let it go. Every breath, let that soft, warm glow flow through your body, making you more and more relaxed. Almost ready to fall asleep. Breathe deep. Exhale.
And we had a kitty again, causing chaos. That's normal. You guys still alive out there? Let me check here on this. So I know that was a little slow meditation, but it's relaxing and it's good. So if I still got you guys on here, anybody want to share something? Good. Hey, I want to share something with you. And I just check this out. I don't know how well you can see it from there. Yeah, here's JoJo again, and he's trying to remove me from things. What this is lion's mane. This is just a spawn, but I have successfully grown lion mane spawn from last year when I first got the when I first got a spawn syringe or a spore syringe. So I grew this from spore. I now have the spawn, and I'm going to try to convert the spawn into more spawn. So as soon as we get the weather where it'll stick around for a little while, I can start growing my lion's mane. Yep. And I've got, you guys will probably see in the next couple of weeks as I put my little laboratory back together. I've got all the gear from growing several different types of mushrooms. I started last year, but I started too late in the year. When I started was about when the temperature started turning, and it's the stuff that I'm growing can only go to a certain temperature. And then here in my office, it gets really cold in the wintertime. So as I learn to grow this stuff, once I have enough, I'll share with everybody. So that's coming down the road. So y'all wish me luck. So anyway, guys, that's about it for this evening. I've enjoyed it as always. I'm incredibly grateful to you guys for spending a little time with me here. I enjoy this so much. I enjoy talking to you guys and enjoy sharing what I'm exploring. We're going to talk again next week about the ancient civilizations and the third eye, and we'll get into a little bit of woo-woo on this, so it should be fun. And again, we'll continue learning more exercises and things like that. I'm now set up where I can do more things like that, and you'll see some changes coming to the lives, and hopefully they'll be a lot better. And Friday, of course, we'll go back to the esoteric side and talk a little about tarot and some other things. So hope to see you guys then, and if not, I'll see you guys next Wednesday and hopefully in person before too long. Spring is here, so it's time to start adventures. Good night, everybody.